You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Right now at 9 o'clock, taking a live look outside. A few clouds in the sky ahead of more wet weather tonight. It is Wednesday, November 19th. Lots to get to this morning as we follow stories in our community and all across the Bay Area. Thanks for being with us this morning. I'm Ann Makovic. Here's a look at some of our news headlines at this hour. There is a prominent new face in the race for California governor. Billionaire Tom Steyer made the announcement today. He's running as a Democrat. The former presidential candidate and longtime climate advocate says he will tackle the state's high cost of living, build affordable housing, and take on big corporations. Steyer joins a crowded field of candidates hoping to replace Governor Newsom, who terms out next year. An expansion to Oakland's surveillance camera system is not moving forward, at least for now. Public Safety Committee voted against it during last night's meeting. Police wanted more than $2 million to expand the city's Flock automated license plate reader system, monitor them in real time, and integrate privately owned cameras into their system. And layoffs could be on the line when the Oakland Unified School District meets tonight, discussing how to deal with a severe budget deficit. District leaders say they need to cut $100 million from next year's budget. So one scenario would be cutting more staff, which would save more money. The other would save less money, but would protect more essential roles. We will continue to follow what they decide. Meantime, let's get a check on that first alert forecast with more rain on the way. Meteorologist Jessica Birch tracking the return tonight.
We have a cold front pushing in late tonight, early tomorrow morning, bringing in a series of showers as we head into those early morning hours tomorrow. And in total, we could get up to around 1/10 of an inch of rain in most of our microclimates. Even more impressive numbers in certain higher elevated communities like the Santa Cruz Mountains or all the way up into Mount Tam too. So here's our rainfall totals for our Thursday forecast. That rain system pushes in the early morning hours, clears up by tomorrow afternoon, but that's what we're gearing up for today. It also will bring in some gustier winds too and some cooler weather right around the corner. Daytime highs today, for example, sitting in the low 60s, widespread throughout our inland areas, all the way up into the North Bay. We're holding on tight to 50s today. Well, as we head into our forecast tomorrow, we're seeing very similar numbers. So let's talk more about this storm system because it is a dry day for us today so far. It's late tonight, early tomorrow morning as that windshield wiper, that band of rain sweeps in from the north. This will bring in a series of showers into the overnight hours tonight, light to moderate rain. You see that right there in that green to yellow color. It breaks apart as we head into that 2 a.m. hour, pushing throughout the peninsula, down into the South Bay. As we wake up early tomorrow morning, maybe 4 or 5 a.m., you're still going to hear some light showers outside. It starts to clear up, though, as we head into that 10 a.m. hour. So that morning commute may be a little wet. And on top of that, those roads would be slick. So just be very careful out there tomorrow morning around this time. It starts to clear up fast, though, as we head into our afternoon hours Thursday. What does that leave us with? Well, as we head into this weekend's forecast, we're finally drying out. Sunny skies right around the corner Friday and Saturday. We're also gearing up for some cool weather lingering into this weekend's forecast. Partly cloudy skies rolling back in next week, but at least it's dry. This is the second week we've been dealing with this is the second week here in the Bay Area that we've been dealing with rain pushing in from offshore. We had the atmospheric river last week. We kicked off this week with another cold front, leaving us nice and cool and wet, of course. We get one more band of showers as we head into Thursday, and then we quickly dry up as we head into this weekend. Sunnier skies right around the corner, partly cloudy skies for our friends in our inland spots, too, as early as Sunday into Monday. We'll have more on that forecast coming up in just a bit. For now, back to you.
Well, despite billions of dollars spent on homelessness, the crisis seems worse than ever in some places. But one South Bay program says it's been seeing success and is now worried that their progress could slip away. Continuum of Care is a federal initiative that helps get people off the street and into permanent housing. Our John Ramos spoke with housing advocates who say recent federal funding changes could impact the program.
Logically, the goal of any homelessness program is to get people off the streets and into permanent housing. And here in Santa Clara County, thousands have done just that thanks to federal funding. But now federal funding is changing, and there are those who think even more people will be turned out into the street because of it. The Trump administration doesn't like the way the battle against homelessness has been fought. They think the real problem is drugs. And HUD Secretary Scott Turner announced big changes to what the federal government will be willing to fund. Quote, "Our philosophy for addressing the homelessness crisis will now define success not by dollars spent or housing units filled, but by how many people achieve long-term self-sufficiency and recovery." end quote. At issue is a concept called Housing First, where homeless people are put into apartments subsidized by federal funds. Ray Bramson, with a South Bay housing group called Destination Home, explains how it works.
The concept behind it and the science is pretty sound. You get a person who's homeless into housing with as few barriers as possible, and then you get them whatever support that they need. So we started to move to this, started to have really good results, and that movement was growing for a long period of time, but now we are headed in a different direction.
Now, HUD says only 30% of their continuum of care funding will pay for permanent housing. The rest will be spent on transitional shelter-type housing and abstinence-based drug treatment. Those are important, but what happens to those currently housed? Until now, 85 to 90% of HUD funding has gone toward permanent housing, about $48 million in Santa Clara County. James R. Williams, the county executive, said in a statement that more than 2,500 people have stable housing as a result. Quote, there is no doubt that the federal administration's actions will reverse years of progress, displace thousands of residents, overwhelm local shelters and emergency rooms, and cost taxpayers far more in crisis services, end quote.
How are we going to pick 30%? Who's going to get to keep their housing?
Vivian Wan is CEO of Abode Services, a housing advocacy group. She says HUD's new focus on requiring people to be more self-reliant is missing a key point.
And a lot of the people in permanent housing are older, disabled, unable to work to be able to afford the high rents in the Bay Area. So it's really dramatically impacting what we're doing and how we're doing it and who we're doing it for.
I think it will change the nature of the work that we've been doing for decades, and it'll lead us to a place where we're not solving the problem, we're just putting a Band-Aid on the issue.
Is this going to drive some people out of permanent housing back out into the streets?
I think absolutely, if we defund permanent housing programs and people have nowhere else to go, they could end up without a home.
At this point, those who work to house people have no idea what will happen when the changes take place. The new approach will focus on getting people off the street, even if it means returning those who already left it.
So that funding shift is set to start in January, when local governments and nonprofits normally apply for grants. The process is said to be competitive, with funding being offered at the administration's discretion. Today, it is official. Cabin shelters for homeless people are coming to Marin County. Yesterday, we told you about that plan in partnership with the city of San Rafael, and now it has the green light. So we're talking 65 cabin shelters going to go in on Marydale Road early next year. Supporters say it's a step toward permanent housing, but some neighbors say they feel like the community did not get enough of a chance to give input on that plan. The site is going to run through 2029 and cost $2 million a year to operate. One of the country's largest property management companies has reached a $7 million settlement as part of an investigation into an alleged pricing scheme. Attorney General Rob Bonta says apartment company Greystar used some sort of algorithm to help landlords secretly raise rents. It's all part of an ongoing antitrust lawsuit against software company RealPage. And as part of the settlement, the AG's office says Greystar has agreed to stop using the computer program to inflate rent prices and to stop sharing pricing information with other landlords. Bonta said in a statement, quote, companies that intentionally fuel this unaffordability by raising prices to line their own pockets can be sure I will use the full force of my office to hold them accountable. California is stronger when we protect tenants and a competitive economy. We are reaching out to Greystar for comment on this. Police in San Francisco say newly released body cam video proves an officer did have a right to open fire on a man and his dog. The video is tough to watch, but we can tell you that both the dog and its owner are recovering today. This footage shows how it all started last week on Market Street. An unleashed husky shepherd mix bit a pedestrian in the leg. After police were called, they approached the owner and the dog, and there the police body cam shows officers trying to take the suspect into custody, but also worried about the dog, whom police say was being aggressive.
I'm gonna shoot your dog, man. I'm gonna shoot your dog.
You're under arrest.
Get over here, your dog's gonna get shot.
Well, the officers then tried to physically detain the suspect, but that's when they say the dog lunged at an officer. That officer fired shots at the dog and the dog's owner, whom police say threw a plastic bottle at the officer during the confrontation. All of this ended after a foot chase down Market Street.
The expectation for officers at Tenderloin Station is to get out there, enforce the law, and engage with the community. In this incident just described, these officers were doing exactly that. They were flagged down and took action regarding a dangerous dog, an issue that we continue to see in the Tenderloin that affects the daily lives and sense of safety for many residents.
That suspect is facing several charges, including resisting arrest. The bill to release the full Epstein files is expected to land on President Trump's desk today. That is after Congress fast-tracked its approval. Reporter Natalie Brand has the latest.
But it's bittersweet, because of, I think, what it took for us to get to this moment.
Epstein survivor Annie Farmer told CBS Morning she's hopeful for transparency, one day after she and other victims gathered on Capitol Hill to celebrate legislation that will compel the Department of Justice to release all unclassified Epstein documents within 30 days.
I think that there's a lot of information in there about not only people
that we haven't heard before, that we
have not heard before,
yeah.
in terms of names of people that not only participated in these crimes, but the people that enabled the crimes.
The bill moved faster than expected, passing the House with all but one member voting in favor. Then almost immediately, the Senate agreed to the bill with unanimous consent.
The Senate has now passed the Epstein bill.
President Trump said this week he would sign the bill into law, but continues to accuse Democrats of trying to deflect.
And what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax.
The president also ordered a new investigation into Epstein's alleged ties with prominent Democrats, which has some lawmakers concerned the DOJ could use the probe to delay the release of files.
The FBI director, the DOJ, Pam Bondi, they would be criminally liable. This is why we climbed the steep hill.
Already, tens of thousands of documents have been released following subpoenas by the House Oversight Committee. In one email, Epstein claimed Trump knew about the girls, which the president has repeatedly denied. The documents also reveal direct correspondences between Epstein and former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, who announced this week he's stepping back from public activities.
Yeah, and today, Summers announced that he is also stepping down from OpenAI's board of directors. Major push to release the files came from our South Bay Congressman Ro Khanna. He partnered with one of the president's, who used to be one of his biggest supporters, Republican firebrand Marjorie Taylor Greene. In recent days, the president has called Greene names and said that she's, quote, lost her way. Here's Khanna and Greene together on the Hill.
What do the American people want to know? They want to know who else visited Epstein's Island, who raped young girls, who abused young girls.
I want to see every single name released so that these women don't have to live in fear and intimidation.
All right, so what's next here? If the president signs the bill, the Justice Department will then have 30 days to release those files. Meanwhile, President Trump has asked the DOJ to investigate links between high-profile Democrats and Epstein. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, elevated levels of plutonium detected in a local neighborhood with a long history of testing positive for radioactive material.
And I'm worried and concerned just not about my kids and about the greater community as it is.
White people who live in that neighborhood are up in arms over the Navy's response. Plus, security under scrutiny at Laney College after last week's deadly shooting on campus.
There's no way some random dude that's not even a student here able to walk in that field house right there, shoot somebody, and damn near get away.
The safety concerns raised by Coach John Bean just before his death.
It's a dry day for us today, but late tonight, early tomorrow morning, more showers roll in from offshore as another cold front sweeps throughout the whole Bay Area. This brings in rain, wind, and some cooler weather once again as we head into those daytime highs. More 60s in store for us as we dive into this weekend, but this is a fast-moving cold front, and it is going to bring in up to around 1/10 of an inch of rain throughout most of the Bay Area, and then we dry up fast as we head into our Friday and Saturday forecast with sunnier skies on tap for us, diving into this weekend.
The fallout from radioactive material in a Bay Area neighborhood continues to cause concerns. People in San Francisco's Hunters Point are demanding answers right now from the U.S. Navy. That comes after the city revealed the Navy waited almost a year to report elevated levels of plutonium in the area. The Hunters Point Citizen Advisory Committee hosted a meeting Monday night where the Navy shared cleanup updates and test results. Kara St. Cyr spoke with neighbors about their concerns.
A lifelong resident of Bayview Hunters Point, cancer is Ariane Harrison's worst fear.
I've watched a lot of neighbors pass away. And this is my sister. My sister, at 19 years old, had breast cancer at 19.
That's why she was furious when she heard the Navy waited 11 months to report elevated levels of plutonium-239 in Parcel C, a shipyard with a long history of testing positive for radioactive material.
It tapped into some of my worst fears. Me, from a health standpoint, I'm a mother and I'm a grandmother now, and I'm worried and concerned just about my kids and about the greater community as it is.
Navy officials say they found small amounts of plutonium in a heavy metal sample, but waited to perform several tests before releasing the information, causing the delay.
This just puts it in context and in comparison to the different standards.
After the report sent shockwaves through the community, Navy spokesperson Michael Pound apologized during a tense community meeting.
We are relooking at our processes. This is not one and done tonight.
But for residents of Hunters Point, the lack of transparency revived 3 decades worth of frustration over cleanup efforts.
I don't trust the Navy.
It's the honesty and the transparency regarding the data collection.
Dr. Catherine Higley, a physicist and radio ecologist who works with the Navy, tried to reassure the crowd that the risk of cancer and other health issues are minimal.
Mammoth Lakes, for example, a day hike up there would give you the same amount of radiation just from cosmic radiation. So it's very small.
Still, Harrison demands accountability in the form of continued cleaning and transparency as the process unfolds.
It's been years of neglect when it comes to this community in every way you can possibly imagine.
A neglect for a community she calls left behind.
During the meeting, the Navy said it's learned from the delay and promises to improve communication moving forward. There are plans to turn the site of a Safeway near Ocean Beach into a major housing complex. A real estate company has filed an application to redevelop that property in the outer Richmond. It's on La Playa Street between Fulton and Cabrillo. The proposed 8-story building would bring more than 500 new housing units to the area, including 68 designated specifically for low-income residents. The Safeway store would temporarily close during construction, but the plans would expand the square footage by more than 50%. Albertsons, the parent company of Safeway, says every current employee will keep their job once the new store opens. Demolition is on hold at a San Francisco site that preservationists argue is a piece of the city's history. This is all that's left of a pair of earthquake shacks on Valley Street in Noe Valley. They were joined to form a cottage, but they've been stripped down to just a roof and framing as part of a construction project on a single-family home. A neighborhood preservationist group known as Save the Shack says the demolition is a violation of the building permit. The city agreed and sent developers a notice of violation and ordered them to stop all work immediately. There are few earthquake shacks left in San Francisco. They were once used to house people who lost their homes following the destructive 1906 earthquake that left more than half of the city homeless. The two pictured here are in the Presidio, where the Army set up one of its 26 emergency camps in the city. We are learning that Laney College Athletic Director John Beam did raise concerns about safety on campus just one day before he was shot and killed there. The man accused of killing Beam appeared in court to face murder charges yesterday. There he is, 27-year-old Cedric Irving Jr. He's going to stay in jail after a judge denied him bail. Brad Hamilton followed his arraignment and went to Laney College to hear from current and former students.
Wearing a green jail outfit, Cedric Irving Jr. was brought into the Alameda County courtroom to face charges in the shooting death of Laney College athletic director and retired coach John Beam. Only still photos were allowed to be taken in the courtroom. The 27-year-old suspect did not enter a plea to the murder charge with a gun enhancement that has him facing 50 years to life in prison if convicted. As Irving stood quietly in the courtroom, family members of Coach Beam watched from the gallery, alongside former football players, as well as NFL running back and Oakland native Marshawn Lynch. At Laney College, security remained highly visible. Amid reports, Coach Beam had raised concerns over security at the field house, the same location where police say he was shot last Thursday in a targeted attack. The San Francisco Standard reported that Coach Beam had spoke at a community forum a day before the shooting about how he felt the campus was less safe after the Peralta Community College District ended its contract with the Alameda County Sheriff's Office to provide armed deputies back in 2020. He reportedly raised the issue that the district's current contracted guards with Diligent Security Group failed to intervene in a recent theft at the field house.
Have you ever seen security like this? What was it like before?
No.
Former Laney football player David Gross says that when he heard how this crime was carried out, he simply couldn't believe it.
For sure, because there's no way some random dude that's not even a student here able to walk in that field house right there, shoot somebody, and damn near get away without even getting caught until he got caught, what, at San Leandro BART station? Yeah, that should not be happening.
Same for Edward Carter, who told us that he worked as a custodian and then a security guard for the college until March of this year.
I worked over 20 plus years. It's not making any sense because Marina we was always in the building. So I don't even know how he got in the building like that.
But former Laney College football player Aleem Othman said he doesn't believe security would have made a difference.
And I don't know what more they could have really done. I mean, the security here is really good. It's just, it's a big campus.
And we reached out to the Peralta Community College District for comments on security, but we have not heard back yet. Irving is set to be back in court next month. Today, students in Oakland are back in class after yesterday's walkout against gun violence. Students at Skyline High were among those demonstrating in response to last week's shooting on campus. There was also a rally at Bishop O'Dowd where students got together in the courtyard. 2 teenagers were arrested and charged for that shooting. Police say they were both found with ghost guns. Meantime, students at Skyline say they're worried about safety on campus. They say they want the district to do more to keep them safe.
Like, we need to show them that we're serious because they know that we're tired of being shot up. We're tired of security, like the lack of security at the school. Our school doesn't just have the resources we need to build a safer and secure environment. I mean, it's not a big ask. It really isn't. I don't think so.
That is Kennedy Wiley. She's in student government. She says they are planning to meet with the district to talk next steps. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, a group that is the last lifeline for animals, now desperately in need of some help themselves. How this local rescue is turning to the community it serves to try to stay afloat.
This year, we've had the most animals come in needing help and the least amount of donations. The world is hard right now.
Daytime highs today sitting in the 60s, anywhere from the East Bay down into the Santa Clara Valley. Cool and cloudy along the coast this afternoon. 50s in store for us from San Francisco down into Half Moon Bay. 50s all the way up into the North Bay, too. I want to show you those rainfall totals, though. As we head into the next 24 hours, this is what we're gearing up for as those showers push in from offshore late tonight, early tomorrow morning. And I want to time it out for you, too. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to pull up this track box, and I want to show you just hour by hour as we head into the overnight hours tonight what it's going to look like. We're already off to a cloudy start, right? Once we head into the 10, 11 o'clock hour tonight, it starts up in the North Bay. Places like Santa Rosa stretch down into places like Petaluma. We'll start seeing light to moderate showers. That pushes through the Bay Area into the overnight hours just around midnight, 1 a.m. Here we go all the way into the 4 a.m. hour tomorrow. Notice how it's starting to dry up in the North Bay. We'll see drier conditions just around 10, 11 a.m. tomorrow. And then that system continues to track its way down to the south. We'll see sunnier skies right around the corner as early, really, as Friday afternoon. So here's what it's looking like as we head into the next 7 days. Low 60s. 60s and upper 50s, back and forth with each other. We're going to get some gusty conditions as that cold front approaches us late tonight, early tomorrow morning. Wet conditions too. You saw those rainfall totals. Nothing impressive compared to what we've seen earlier this week or even last week for that matter, but a 1/10 of an inch of rain is still impressive in itself. We'll see sunnier skies by Friday and Saturday. Partly cloudy conditions rolling back in as we kick off next week, but don't let that alarm you. It is still a dry setup as we head into next week. We'll keep you updated on those numbers. For now, back to you.
A wildlife rescue that exists to help animals in need is in need of a little help itself. An urban wildlife rescue in San Francisco is having some money troubles after it lost its grants and other hurdles. Amanda Harry talked to the founder about what it will take for them to keep going.
I'm just curious to see.
These are two elderly
Yggdrasil Urban
opossums.
Wildlife Rescue is filled with
This
animals,
one,
turtles,
was came
opossums,
injured.
and squirrels, all in need of a little extra care.
This year, we've had the most animals come in needing help and the least amount of donations. The world is hard right now.
You've made a big mess out of your enclosure
Founder
today.
Lila Travis says they usually help around 700 animals a year. This year, that number is going to be around 850.
The whole purpose is to raise them to be released back into the wild, to give them a second chance at a normal life.
But now the rescue is fighting for its own survival. This year, they had 2 major grants come to an end, as well as some unexpected expenses.
This cage right here cost $6,000, but we really needed it, so we bought it.
The nonprofit runs on a shoestring budget of just $100,000. In August, the California Department of Fish and Wildlife changed some regulatory laws. Now, they'll have to make upgrades that come with a hefty price tag.
It's great that they did that. It just comes at really bad timing because we just don't have the funding coming in to be able to make those kinds of adjustments right now. So that's why we've had this emergency fundraiser.
This little opossum was part of the fundraiser this past weekend.
Yeah, he's pretty
He's
wonderful.
about 4 months old and came in this summer.
I like
They
Morpheus.
quickly realized he doesn't have eyeballs, making him blind and unable to go back into the wild. Travis says he has the perfect demeanor to become an education ambassador and go to classrooms, but he doesn't have a name yet.
We said, hey, for $5 you can buy a ticket and give us your name suggestion. We're actually going to carry that on online.
The fundraiser generated enough money to get them out of the red for the rest of the year, but they're already gearing up for another one in the spring, and they need to find a long-term solution.
We need sustainable grant funding that we can count on every year in order to reliably be able to do this work. You don't get up close and get to meet wildlife animals, especially in cities, you're not going to care about them. And if we don't care about them, we're not going to try to save them, and that extends to our environment in general.
A lot of cuties there. Now, if you see a wild animal in distress or would like to learn more about the wildlife rescue, you can head to their website. Some of the best women's soccer players in the country are being honored in San Jose today. The Civic Center is hosting the National Women's Soccer League Awards. This leads up to this weekend's championship match at PayPal Park in San Jose. Gotham FC and the Washington Spirit going to battle it out for the trophy. That game airs this Saturday on KPIX and streaming on Paramount+. Pre-game coverage starts at 4:30. Coming up in our next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, we are continuing our line of questions for the candidates for California governor. We're going to ask the top contenders how they would handle health care for undocumented immigrants. We'll be right back.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for staying with us this Wednesday. I'm Ann Makovic, and here's another look at some of our news headlines. There is a prominent new face in the race for California governor. Billionaire Tom Steyer made the announcement today. He is running as a Democrat. Former presidential candidate and longtime climate advocate says he will tackle the state's high cost of living, build affordable housing, and take on big corporations. Steyer joins a crowded field of candidates hoping to replace Governor Newsom when terms out next year. Layoffs could be on the line when the Oakland Unified School District meets tonight to discuss how to deal with a major budget deficit. District leaders say they need to cut $100 million from next year's budget. One scenario would be cutting more staff, which will save more money. The other would save less money, but would protect more essential roles. We'll be following that meeting. And new video here of a police shooting that injured a dog and its owner in San Francisco, warning it's kind of tough to watch. This happened last week on Market Street. You can see the unleashed husky there. It's a husky shepherd mix. Bite a bystander in the leg, and then this police body cam video showing officers trying to take that suspect into custody and opening fire on the dog when it lunged at an officer. You see there, both the dog and owner are recovering. They're expected to be okay. That owner facing several charges, including resisting arrest. All right, let's get another check on our first alert forecast because we do have another round of rain moving in today. Meteorologist Jessica Birch is tracking it.
We have a cold front pushing in late tonight, early tomorrow morning, bringing in a series of showers as we head into those early morning hours tomorrow. And in total, we could get up to around 1/10 of an inch of rain in most of our microclimates. Even more impressive numbers in certain higher elevated communities like the Santa Cruz Mountains or all the way up into Mount Tam too. So here's our rainfall totals for our Thursday forecast. That rain system pushes in the early morning hours, clears up by tomorrow afternoon, but that's what we're gearing up for today. It also will bring in some gustier winds too and some cooler weather right around the corner. Daytime highs today, for example, sitting in the low 60s, widespread throughout our inland areas, all the way up into the North Bay. We're holding on tight to 50s today. Well, as we head into our forecast tomorrow, we're seeing very similar numbers. So let's talk more about this storm system because it is a dry day for us today so far. It's late tonight, early tomorrow morning as that windshield wiper, that band of rain sweeps in from the north. This will bring in a series of showers into the overnight hours tonight, light to moderate rain. You see that right there in that green to yellow color. It breaks apart as we head into that 2 a.m. hour, pushing throughout the peninsula, down into the South Bay. As we wake up early tomorrow morning, maybe 4 or 5 a.m., you're still going to hear some light showers outside. It starts to clear up though as we head into that 10 a.m. hour. So that morning commute may be a little wet. And on top of that, those roads would be slick. So just be very careful out there tomorrow morning around this time. It starts to clear up fast though as we head into our afternoon hours Thursday. What does that leave us with? Well, as we head into this weekend's forecast, we're finally drying out. Sunny skies right around the corner Friday and Saturday. We're also gearing up for some cool weather lingering into this weekend's forecast. Partly cloudy skies rolling back in next week, but at least it's dry. This is the second week we've been dealing with this is the second week here in the Bay Area that we've been dealing with rain pushing in from offshore. We had the atmospheric river last week. We kicked off this week with another cold front, leaving us nice and cool and wet, of course. We get one more band of showers as we head into Thursday, and then we quickly dry up as we head into this weekend. Sunnier skies right around the corner, partly cloudy skies for our friends in our inland spots too as early as Sunday into Monday. We'll have more on that forecast coming up in just a bit. For now, back to you.
As part of our ongoing political accountability series, CBS News California is helping voters compare the top gubernatorial candidates. We're not looking for talking points, but how they respond to tough questions and opposing viewpoints on the issues that matter most. Investigative correspondent Julie Watts grilling the candidates here on a nuanced aspect of health care for undocumented immigrants.
Healthcare for undocumented immigrants. And I want to specify specifically for people who come across the border.
Legitimately proceeding through the asylum or residency process. They're, checking in. They're still considered undocumented, right? Yes. And I think a lot of times people hear, okay, healthcare for undocumented. These are people who are, coming through in tunnels or coming over with coyotes. But for folks who legitimately say, I need asylum in this country, and many times they have work permits. They are paying taxes.
Should those folks have access to Medi-Cal and free healthcare in California?
The laws are pretty clear already, and they have access to care already.
That's a tough question because the argument is they're not here legally, but I get the argument that they are here legally.
Absolutely should try to help, but that's only if we have the resources to take care of all of our citizens and all of our permanent residents that are currently living in this state.
Assuming we have a balanced budget, we take care of family first, then I can handle that.
Everyone should have access to healthcare. We're not a barbaric society. Other states do it in a much more limited way.
People who have green cards, yes.
They're not green cards. People who...
Asylees, people who are applying for asylum.
Who are in the process of.
Yes, I think that's appropriate.
To be clear, I support health care for all, including undocumented immigrants. I've voted for it as a legislator.
We already provide health care to those people. It's called emergency health care. We spend more on emergency health care for those folks than we would on Medi-Cal and preventative.
I do believe they should be able to access a basic level of health care in California.
We should have what every single civilized society on earth has, which is that the health care should be either free or affordable for all of the people that are in the place.
See, that's another gray area. I mean, like, because you're not quite there yet, but you're on your way. I mean, I think there should be some level of services provided, but not, full buffet carte blanche, go for it.
Well, you can watch every candidate's full response on our website and YouTube channel and see who you vibe with. There you can compare their answers side by side. Well, Texas says it plans to challenge the ruling over its newly redrawn congressional maps. A federal court struck them down, saying that they're unconstitutional because they were designed to weaken the voting power of racial minorities. So that is a major loss for President Trump and Republicans who backed the maps to preserve their slim majority in next year's midterm elections. Of course, there was California's response to that. Our voter-approved congressional maps are also facing legal challenges, but their outcome likely will not be affected by the ruling in Texas. CBS legal analyst Jessica Levinson says that is because California's redistricting plan went to voters, you remember, earlier this month, and that could impact a judge's ruling.
There's nothing to me to indicate that because judges came to one conclusion in Texas, they're going to come to the same conclusion in California.
Prop 50 originally included trigger language linking its implementation to Texas, but that provision was eventually removed, so it would still take effect if it's not struck down. Governor Newsom responded to the Texas decision on X, saying Donald Trump and Greg Abbott played with fire, got burned, and democracy won. This ruling is a win for Texas and for every American who fights for free and fair elections. Now, on the other side, Republican Congressman Kevin Kiley issued a statement calling the dispute a, quote, foolish redistricting war. Longtime opponent of redrawing congressional lines, Kiley urged House Speaker Mike Johnson to support his bill for banning mid-decade redistricting. Coming up next here on CBS News Bay Area, how much would you pay for a piece of sports history? How a used Giants jersey fetched a 6-digit price.
It's a dry day for us today, but late tonight, early tomorrow morning, more showers roll in from offshore as another cold front sweeps throughout the whole Bay Area. This brings in rain, wind, and some cooler weather once again as we head into those daytime highs. More 60s in store for us as we dive into this weekend, but this is a fast-moving cold front, and it is going to bring in up to around 1/10 of an inch of rain throughout most of the Bay Area, and then we dry up fast as we head into our Friday and Saturday forecast with sunnier skies on tap for us, diving into this weekend.
Well, the 49ers getting ready for Monday Night Football when they take on the Carolina Panthers at Levi Stadium. The Niners are still riding high after that blowout win over the Cardinals this weekend. And as Vern Glenn explains, the defense did something they haven't done all season long.
This is the Audi Red and Gold Report.
The 49ers secondary stepped up in the win over Arizona. The defense had just one interception in the first 10 games, but doubled its season total on Sunday. Corner Deommodore Lenoir was questionable all week, but returned a third-quarter interception 64 yards that left him gasping for air.
I didn't get to practice this week, so I was kind of tired. So it was like my first run since Wednesday. So yeah, so I was kind of gassed. But next week we'll be better.
With the Red and Gold Report, I'm Vern Glenn.
And you can tune in tonight for our weekly 49ers Experience show with Vern and Matt Lively. That airs at 7:30 on KPIX and streaming right here on the free CBS News app. The legacy of Willie Mays will forever be etched in sports history, and now people are spending big bucks to own a piece of the Say Hey Kids memorabilia. This game-used Willie Mays Giants jersey and pants from 1971 just sold for more than $360,000. This is from Gray Flannel Auctions. The inside of the uniform shows Willie Mays' name in cursive. It was used several times in the 1971 season. According to the auction site, Mays gifted this road uniform to his longtime personal friend, Jimmy Hayes. And other Bay Area legends had some gear up for grabs. Warrior star Steph Curry's game-worn Nike shoes from 2012 to 2013 sold for $138,000. And this jersey from 49ers legend Joe Montana sold for more than $72,000. The red game-used jersey is from 1988, and it's signed by Montana. If you're wondering what the cheapest item on the auction block was, some autographed hockey cards went for about $30. That includes former San Jose Sharks goaltender Jeff Hackett. He was part of the team's inaugural season in 1991. Coming up, we are going to meet a team of local volunteers making sure that no one goes hungry this holiday season.
Community support looks like, literally putting food in people's cars so they can go home and have a good Thanksgiving meal.
Now, why this group says that this year, it's personal.
Daytime highs today sitting in the 60s, anywhere from the East Bay down into the Santa Clara Valley. Cool and cloudy along the coast this afternoon. 50s in store for us from San Francisco down into Half Moon Bay. 50s all the way up into the North Bay, too. I want to show you those rainfall totals, though. As we head into the next 24 hours, this is what we're gearing up for as those showers push in from offshore late tonight, early tomorrow morning. And I want to time it out for you too. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to pull up this track box and I want to show you just hour by hour as we head into the overnight hours tonight, what it's going to look like. We're already off to a cloudy start, right? Once we head into the 10, 11 o'clock hour tonight, it starts up in the North Bay. Places like Santa Rosa stretch down into places like Petaluma. We'll start seeing light to moderate showers. That pushes through the Bay Area into the overnight hours just around midnight, 1 a.m. Here we go all the way into the 4 a.m. hour tomorrow. Notice how it's starting to dry up in the North Bay. We'll see drier conditions just around 10, 11 a.m. tomorrow. And then that system continues to track its way down to the south. We'll see sunnier skies right around the corner as early, really, as Friday afternoon. So here's what it's looking like as we head into the next 7 days. Low 60s and upper 50s back and forth with each other. We're going to get some gusty conditions as that cold front approaches us late tonight, early tomorrow morning. Wet conditions, too. You saw those rainfall totals. Nothing impressive compared to what we've seen earlier this week or even last week, for that matter. But a 1/10 of an inch of rain is still impressive in itself. We'll see sunnier skies by Friday and Saturday. Partly cloudy conditions rolling back in as we kick off next week. But don't let that alarm you. It is still a dry setup as we head into next week. We'll keep you updated on those numbers. For now, back to you.
Every day, thousands of Bay Area families struggle to make ends meet. And each holiday season, CBS News Bay Area teams up with our local food banks to help out. This year, we are kicking off our Food for Bay Area Families drive at Second Harvest Food Bank in Santa Cruz County. It's actually the state's first ever food bank. Bevan Feely introduces us to some of the volunteers supporting their neighbors.
On a wet evening, the main parking lot of the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk turned into a lifeline. Second Harvest Food Bank Santa Cruz County launched an emergency response community food distribution. Most people who came through chose to remain in their cars, so we talked to the team of volunteers who kept the operation moving box by box.
My name's Lily Pheasant and I'm out here today on behalf of the Long-Term Recovery Group of Santa Cruz County and with the California Emergency Response Corps. And just out here to help get some food out to people.
Lily says their goal was to provide food for about 1,000 people, many facing new gaps in assistance.
With the government shutdown, I think a lot of people lost out on benefits, and I know that that's been hugely impactful for so many people. I think that's super important to just fill the gaps that are missing in the federal government right now, and just make sure people have the support they need.
Volunteers say the need has been growing and community support is what keeps these distributions going.
The need has increased over 150%. You can't have a community without everyone looking out for each other.
From fresh produce to meal essentials, the team worked car to car, making sure that every driver left with what they needed. For many volunteers, showing up like this feels personal.
Community support looks like, literally putting food in people's cars so they can go home and have a good Thanksgiving meal.
Second Harvest will continue pop-up and emergency distributions throughout the season, working to make sure that no one in Santa Cruz County goes without a meal.
And if you want to support our Food for Bay Area Families initiative, you can scan that QR code there on your screen right now. There you would be able to donate food or funds or your time to food banks across the Bay Area. Or you can head to our website, kpix.com/give. And we'd love you to join us for our holiday special that's going to air Christmas night. You can see the inspiring stories behind the effort to feed families across the Bay Area. We're also going to show you the impact of your donation to keep food on the table for our neighbors. Well, tonight, San Francisco is kicking off the holiday season by turning on the lights at the Embarcadero Center. This is always a cool sight. The annual display featuring 17,000 lights illuminating the city's skyline. The celebration begins with the holiday market featuring live music and food vendors. Then they're flipping that switch at 5:30. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.